Hey guys, it's Carter with Patriot Training Center. Today I'm going to show you how to do maintenance on your shotgun. For this video I'm going to be taking down a Remington 870 and cleaning out the action and the barrel and showing you how that's done. So first thing first, when we're cleaning a gun, always make sure that it's unloaded. So I'm going to check the chamber visually and physically and make sure nothing is in this chamber. And then I'm also going to check the magazine tube, making sure that I'm seeing the follower and there's no shells in here. Okay, so this is clear. Now I'm going to take this end cap off by unscrewing it. I'm going to pull the barrel off. Okay. Next, I'm going to take out the fire control group. Sometimes if you need like a punch or something and a little bit of pressure, you can do that. They should pop out pretty easy on these 870s. I'm going to do just a little bit longer punch. It's also easier if you have like a roll of duct tape or something to put it on, or an armorer's block. I'm going to set my parts aside, make sure that I'm not losing those. Okay, so now that I have that done, this fire control group will rock out of here. I'll have to push that forward. Then this pops out. Now I can just push this rod in here. There's a little rod that I have to pull this bolt out. Now the bolt comes out. Now this is fully disassembled for where I'm going to disassemble it to. You could take apart the fire control group, but on these 870s it's not really necessary. You can wipe it clean, but yeah, it's not going to need a ton of armoring to take it down. So we're going to leave it as is, maybe put a couple drops of oil, but that's as far as we're going to take it apart. So let's talk about the barrel. So first thing I'm going to do is inspect the barrel. It's got a decent amount of fouling in it, so we're going to need to do a nice cleaning job on this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some solvent in the barrel using these patches. So I have a set of cleaning patches and a cleaning rod, and I'm going to just screw this in. And I'm going to use a solvent. I'm going to soak this patch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the breech and go through the bore, soaking that up, putting all that solvent in there. Okay. So that's like crazy dirty. So what we're going to need a brush now. Sometimes I'll let it sit for a little bit just to break down that carbon, and then we'll go back through with the brush to break it up. So this is a 12 gauge specific brush. Screw that in. Now I'm going to, same thing, go through the breech, go all the way through, go out, and then come back through. Okay. Now I'm going to run a couple more patches through there. I like to run a few in these loops So we have these patches that go inside of this loop. So you kind of just feed them through here and pull them through like this. These come in like basically any cleaning kit that you can imagine. So that's the way I want it set up. And then I'm going to run it through. So I'm going to unscrew this brush. I'm going to put a little more solvent in here now on this patch. Give it a nice wet. Okay. Yeah, it's still nice and dirty. So that brush really broke that up. You can see it's super dirty. So I'm just going to run it through here a couple times, and you just repeat the process until you start getting clean patches, which as you can see, I'm pretty far away from that right now. All right, I'm going to switch up patches. Nice. Okay. It's looking better. Still needs some work. Okay. Now what I can do is run the mop through here. So the mop actually just it dries everything out and makes sure that you're fully clear and nice and smooth and clean. So it's just a cotton mop. Comes in most shotgun kits. This should come out relatively clean. Still a little dirty, but it's just making sure you're getting all of that grime out of there. Run it a couple more times. If you want, you can put some oil or some solvent on this as well. Okay, so now I'm going to put another clean patch in here and see how far I got on cleaning with that mop. So I'll put a couple more patches in this loop right here, pull it through. All right. It is pretty dang clean. There's a little bit of grime, but it's pretty dang clean. So I might go one or two more, but yeah, it's looking pretty dang clean in there. So let's go ahead and move to the action and what I do in the action. So I usually just take a paper towel, or you can take another cleaning patch and just wet it and start scrubbing away. You can use gun scrubber too, that works really well, spraying it in the action. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning out. You can see it's super nasty and dirty in here, so I might actually just put some drops in there and let it sit for a minute, because this needs to be cleaned really bad. So I'm going to drop some of the solvent in here and let it sit. And I will let this sit while I work on the bolt. So bolt, same thing. It's, as you can see, it's super dirty and starting to actually have some rust on it. This is just a gun. We're down in the south, so things rust really fast here. But this is a gun that really needs to be taken care of. So we will put some of this solvent on here. You can also use like a nylon brush too. That works better than a paper towel. So you can scrub it with a nylon brush and then wipe it out with a paper towel. This solvent works pretty well, so it's coming right off with a paper towel. Okay. It's looking good in here. All right. So now that that's clean, what I'll usually do is I will put a little bit of solvent on a rag and just wipe off the fire control group with the solvent. Like I said, you don't have to go super crazy in here. You actually want to be careful about like putting a bunch of lube and stuff down here, because you can seize these things up if you attract too much carbon. But we're just kind of wiping things down. You don't have to take it apart. Just make sure that you're not leaving residue like paper towel chunks and stuff in the actual fire control group. Okay. So now let's move back to the action. So I'm just going to scrape this out with a paper towel. Okay, so now that I've let this action sit, I'm going to rub out the solvent that I put in here with a paper towel. Okay. Now I'm going to lube the bolt. So I'm going to take oil and lube the high contact areas just a little bit at a time. I'm not going super like hard on this lube. I'm just getting a nice thin coating on there. All right, start putting it back together. So this goes on first. All right, so I'm going to go back. Now it's pressing up against this tab, so I got to defeat the tab, push it through. Okay, so now it's in. So I have the bolt in. Now I can go to the fire control group. I'm going to drop a couple very tiny drops of oil in here, just a little bit. Like I said, you don't want to go too much on that oil for the fire control group. All right, so now I'm going to rock this in. You have to push the bolt forward just a bit, and now you just line up the holes with the fire control group, the receiver holes in the fire control group. Big pin goes on the back on this 870. You might need to give it a little bit of a tap, but not much. Then make sure it stays lined up. This is a rubber hammer, so I'm not nailing metal against this. Don't worry, guys. All right, so now I'm going to put the barrel back on. So on the 870, I always just pull the bolt like halfway and then pop the barrel on pretty easy, like that, all the way. Now I can put the end cap on, screw it all the way on. Now it's ready to go. I do a function test. Okay, everything's working. Okay, that's your basic field strip and cleaning on a pump action shotgun. The steps from the barrel and getting the bolt all clean is the same with the semi-auto. Obviously refer to your service manual when you're doing it, but this will be a quick video to get you started.